Hey everyone, and welcome to my 1700 sub special. As you may or may not know, recently I have made some Aqua and Muse fan subunits. Now that we finally have a Liella song where all 11 members got solos, I decided it was finally time to make up some Liella fan subunits. I know it's taken me a little while to get this video out, and that's partly because Liella has so many good combinations that it was hard for me to decide what subunits I wanted to have, and it's partly because these videos are just a ton of work to pull together. First I had to figure out what kind of configuration I wanted. The actual Liella subunits are split into 2 trios and a quintet, but as we all know, the idea of a quintet subunit did not go over well with many fans, myself included. Many people felt like 5 people was just too many for a subunit. It's on par with the original 5 girls in Liella, so I immediately crossed that off my list. That meant I could do 2 quartets and a trio, or 3 trios and a duo, or 2 duos, a trio, and a quartet, or even 4 duos and a trio, or however many other ways you can divide up the 11 of them. Ultimately though, I decided to go with 2 duos, a trio, and a quartet. Miji seems to get along with 4 subunits just fine, so I figured that Liella can too. During the course of this video, I'll introduce my Liella subunits, name them, tell you a little bit about them, and give you a chance to hear what they would sound like using either Universe or Aikotoba. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Jury for designing the subunit logos for me. I love how they turned out and I am deeply appreciative of the design help. And now, my Liella fan subunit. My first subunit that we'll talk about is one of the duos, which is comprised of Chisato Arashi and Ren Hazuki. The formation of this subunit goes all the way back to Hajimari wa Kimi no Sora, where Ren and Chisato got a couple of duet lines together that really caught my attention. I always thought that their voices sounded really sweet together. I think the subunit would do really well at songs like Misty Frosty Love, Hajimari wa Kimi no Sora, and Aoku Haruka. But I could also see this subunit having a more eclectic style, capable of handling just about every dance style there is. So other songs for them could include Kuru Kuru Kurula, Anone Ganbare, Kiss the Sun, Innocent Bird, Firebird, and Ketsui no Hikari. Their subunit name is Fusion. I wasn't sure what name to give these two at first. They don't really seem to have a lot in common at first glance. But I know that Chisato and Ren are the dancers of Liella. Chisato is the group's choreographer, and Ren does both ballet and figure skating. So I got the idea to give them a name that had to do with dance. Fusion dancing is a form of improvised partner dancing that occurs when dancers fuse or combine elements from 2 or more dance styles. So I thought that the name Fusion would suit them perfectly as it represents 2 kinds of dance backgrounds coming together. Their logo is actually 2 different fonts pushed together to represent this. This subunit does not have a leader as they both participate equally. Therefore, their subunit color will be purple, which is a blend of Chisato's pink image color with Ren's blue image color. My second subunit that we'll talk about is the second duo, which is comprised of Sumire Heanna and Mei Yoneme. The formation of the subunit is basically me taking Kachu and removing Kanon, because I discovered that I really like how Sumire and Mei sound together. Their voices complement each other really well, and I feel like they have a similar edgy vibe that just works. I think this subunit would probably excel at rock songs in particular, with songs like Kaware Yasuki, Trouble Busters, and Deepness heading up their lineup. But of course they're not limited to rock music. Some other songs that I envision for them would include Silent Pain, Tragic Drops, Cherry Bomb, Believe Again, Yosoku Fukano Driving, and Loveless World. Their subunit name is Sirius, and I am choosing to pronounce it the English way rather than the Latin way. I was really at a loss for names for these two, but then I went on the Love Live wiki and noticed that when written in kanji, it's possible that Sumire's name means flower. Additionally, the first part of Mei's name in Chinese means bud or sprout. That gave me the idea of looking for a plant-related name for them, and finally I found the name Sirius. Sirius is a type of cactus that only blooms at night, and each flower only lasts for one day. Somehow this seemed perfect for a shy girl like Mei, and for a girl who was struggling to be noticed like Sumire. Their logo replicates this, with green stems and red flowers. This subunit's image color is green to reflect that Sumire is the leader. The third subunit that we'll talk about is the trio subunit, which is comprised of Natsumi Onitsuka, Shiki Wakana, and Tomari Onitsuka. I'm sure by now it's obvious that I love putting sisters together, so it should come as no surprise that I paired Natsumi and Tomari together. Adding Shiki in with them was a happy coincidence when I did my synchronized Aikotoba mix, and I realized how good the three of them sound together. I envisioned this subunit excelling at softer and sweeter songs like Mo Hitori Janai yo, Moshimo Karekito, and Far Far Away. However, I could also imagine this group selling at a variety of songs like Genyo Yako, Nightingale Love Song, Yume plus Mirai equals Mukendai, Love You My Friends, Mirai Yoho Hallelujah, and Name wa Youbao Yoni. Their subunit name is Aurelia. This name was actually pretty easy for me to come up with after learning that Shiki loves butterflies. There is an Aurelia butterfly, and I thought that the name was pretty. Coincidentally, Tomari is frequently represented by jellyfish, and there is an Aurelia jellyfish as well. Lastly, the name Aurelia means golden one, which seems to suit Natsumi perfectly. Therefore, it only made sense for me to make Natsumi the leader of the subunit. Their logo is pink and gold to reflect both their name and the fact that their group's image color is pink. In addition, we also took the little diamond from Natsumi's character symbol and added it over the eye to give their logo that little extra spark that Natsumi's subunit needs. The last subunit to talk about is my quartet, which is comprised of Kinako Sakurakoji, Margaret Wien, Kanon Shibuya, and Keke Tang. I remained shocked that staff didn't put Kuku and Kanon into the same subunit together, so I knew immediately that I had to group them together. It seemed natural to put Kinako with them after season 2, and then I added Wayne in to help balance out their voices. The result was a quartet that I really like the sound of. I feel like this subunit would take their star theme and run with it, with songs like Wild Stars, Martian Star, and of course, the original Tiny Stars duet would see a reappearance as a foursome this time. Other starry songs for this subunit to conquer include Yozoro wa Nondamo, Shiteru no, Hello Hoshi o Kazoete, Onaji Hoshi ga Mitai, Stars We Chase, Hoshizora Monologue, and Starry Prayer. Their subunit name is Pegasus. I really want to stick with the concept introduced by Tiny Stars, which of course is the original Kanon and Kuku duet from way back in season 1. When I looked for constellations that specifically include 4 stars, I found the Great Square of Pegasus. This square is comprised of 4 stars and is an integral part of the constellation Pegasus, so it only made sense for me to use that as their name. I also decided to be a little different in that this subunit will have a dual leadership between Kinako and Wayne. Their subunit color will be silver, but as you can see, the logo also includes a star in each member's image color. Kanako's and Wayne's stars are closer on top to reflect their status as the subunit leaders. This concludes the introduction of my Liella fan subunits, but of course it's not over yet. Keep an eye out over the next 4 days as I will be releasing the full versions of each subunit mix that you heard previewed in this video. And of course, as Liella receives more solos for all of the members in the future, I really want to do more mixes for my subunits. Let me know what you thought of my Liella fan subunits in a comment. Thanks for watching!